All right, welcome back to Plumbing Around, where in life and plumbing shit happens.
Yeah.
Yes. Today, I'm here with Alene
Yes.
McDowell.
Yes.
She's a mental health professional, counselor, coaching. What else? What are some of the other things you do?
Well, I think that sums it up. Marriage and family therapist and
Okay.
also coaching. Some people don't like, to do the therapy component, so they like the coaching.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you tell me the difference between those? Is there a difference, or are we just playing semantics?
No, there is a difference.
All right.
Obviously, one, the educational component for marriage and family therapist, we have to do that. And then the requirement of the hours and then our
Probably a lot of
licensure.
schooling and
Yes.
yes.
Then our licensure. And then therapy is more about like digging into your past a little bit, getting to know you, getting to see what ticks for you, what your patterns are. And then coaching is really, I think, with all due respect, anybody can do it, right? And it's just more directive. And there's no guidelines in coaching.
Okay. Do you need to get any certificates or anything for that, or no?
No.
All right. You're like, I'm smarter than you, and
People can just say, I'm a coach. Yeah, coach for anything. Yeah.
so just full disclosure, you're my therapist,
Yes.
which has
Amazing.
been amazing. Yes, I think we've made some breakthroughs, and
Yeah.
I would say I'm much calmer.
Yes, huge difference.
So, what's your background? How did you get into it? What did you like about it? What have you done?
Yeah, so it's actually a funny story. It's not like I always wanted to be a therapist. I always wanted to work in the jails. So
That seems weird, but okay.
yeah, I love the forensic population.
Okay.
I'm actually fascinated by it. But in San Diego County, the sheriff department, it's really competitive. So a lot of people with masters were applying.
Oh.
And I only had a bachelor's at that time. So I'm like, okay, so I need to be competitive. So I'm like, that's when I decided to be a therapist.
Okay.
Yeah, but it actually, I loved it, and so that's where my journey started. And so I started counseling at the sheriff department. And then once I got my licensure, started my own private practice.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm scared of jail. I'm too pretty for jail, I think.
I think you are.
So,
yeah, you wouldn't work
that's-
there.
Yeah, that's why I don't want to. But you found it really rewarding, and
It's absolutely. I think that, it's a population that a lot of people don't want to work with. There's a lot of mix of people there. So it's never boring. It's very interesting. And then it's very directive, so I think it is rewarding. Both, I work with males and females.
do you ever feel in danger? Or?
No, I think only one time in the whole time. And I've worked with, like I said, males and females. I also worked in Spokane, Washington with sex offenders. Not even there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. You're way tougher than me.
A little bit.
Yeah, not a lot. So, so I thought it would be great to have you on today just to talk about. So, do we call it mental health? Do we call it what? Is there a special name for mental health? Then
Yeah, I think especially for a couple years back, right? It's been like a big movement, and I think some people are getting tired of it. It's mental health this, mental health this, mental health that. But I think that just the title is mental health because it is about the brain and the health of it, the health of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I think it's good that it's come to light more and more.
Yeah.
I know probably 10 years ago, maybe even.
Yeah.
Like it was taboo.
Yeah.
People, and I didn't know anything about it. I was just like, oh, I'm just
Yeah.
an idiot or something, or there's something wrong with me, and it's not that.
No.
It's that you've
Or aware.
yeah
Yeah.
you're not aware of it, that you've been, I don't want to say brainwashed, but I don't know what would be a better term. You're stuck in the same thing, the repetitive
Patterns.
patterns of your family, past
Yeah.
generations, and
Yeah. So like my generation, and I think your generation, we were not, we weren't really raised with mental health. So I think after my generation, then it started, so then it was just either you were a bad child, you talked too much, you weren't understood.
yeah, bad kid. Yeah, I was
you
raised with belts and
Belts.
noses in the corner, and
all of the things that, come to find out now, it doesn't always work or it doesn't work, scientifically proven. But I mean, I was in that same generation.
Yeah.
It wasn't preventative. You know, we got spanked and we still did the same thing again.
Well, you're going to just make me angry. So,
I'm angry, then I'm going to do it again.
yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't wear a belt for years. My pants kept falling down. It was very embarrassing. So I think a big topic too today is like mental health in the workspace.
Yeah.
What are like things to watch for when you're feeling off and you're feeling extra stress from work, and are there certain signs? Are things that you can notice and maybe catch yourself and go talk to someone like yourself? Or
Yeah, absolutely. I think the first is the amount of stress and your irritability. Like if you have nothing to give, I always tell my couples, right? Like you're 100%, I'm 100%. Check in. One day I might be at 85 and you might be at 23. So I know that you probably don't have anything to give for that day, right? And that really goes for every individual. So if you're noticing that your, battery life is really depleted and you're getting irritated with your spouse, or your partner, your friends, even your coworkers for something small, then you know that it's looming, right? Because we are like volcanoes and we will eventually erupt.
Mm-hmm.
So that body aches, tension, headaches, those are all key indicators. Maybe drinking more, eating more, avoiding family members, avoiding events.
Yeah, well, that's
All those
Thanksgiving,
things.
isn't it? I try to avoid family members. So are there different types of mental health, different types of
Diagnosis?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a slew of them, but I think the ones that people mostly hear about is depression, anxiety, PTSD, personality disorders, those are the ones that you would be dealing with mostly at the workplace.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have the higher ones that are more severe, like schizophrenia, bipolar.
Yeah. And treatable?
Yeah. Well, depending, schizophrenia, bipolar, I think it's maintainable.
Okay.
There's no getting better for schizophrenia. I think it's more of a maintenance.
Okay.
That way it's, the symptoms are not as pronounced. Bipolar as well, it's something that you will have, forever, but definitely, you can maintain it. Depression, anxiety, it's not like it's a cure, but definitely with the things that you implement, medication, if need be, is something that you actually can overcome or just learn to live with.
Yeah. So are some of those things like, can you come talk to someone like yourself?
Yes.
For the anxiety and depression and things like that? Yeah.
So mostly what people in private practice get is counseling for relationships, depression, anxiety, actually work-related issues, and family-related issues. Mm. Yeah.
Yeah. I've had all those.
Yes.
Yes. And so like myself, I used drinking alcohol as a numbing agent, a something to not deal with life or reality or things like that. And are there places or other people or things that people can do who feel like they have maybe that problem but don't know what to do?
Absolutely. I think it is very hard to ask for help in general. I think
especially for men, I would say.
Yes.
You're supposed to rub dirt on it and just keep going.
Yes. And that's what you're taught, and it's worked. It has worked, right? Because usually men are the ones who provide and keep going. But then there is, like I said, there's a volcano. There is an end, and that end sometimes is not very pretty. Yeah. So yes, I think, reaching out to either if it's a faith-based, if you are, into it, your religion that's important to you, or a counselor like myself. Mm-hmm. If it is in reference to addiction, there could be two modalities, right? Having somebody who is trained more in the addiction component, and then maybe someone as a therapist, right, to talk about, because addiction is more about, an underline. It's not like you just, woke up one day and say, hey, it's going to be fun to drink 24/7 or use drugs 24/7. It's more about pain and trauma. Mm-hmm. So to treat that is what eventually will then help treat the addiction.
Yeah, and that's what I found, right? With me, I had underlying issues that I didn't even know or understand.
Yeah.
Until I stopped drinking, probably 6-9 months into not drinking, it was like all of a sudden, oh my God, what's going on? these are feelings. This is, why aren't I happy? I stopped drinking. And I didn't know what to do. And that's when I started reaching out to people because I just wasn't happy with me, my life. And it was like you felt lost. You didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, imagine just utilizing a thing, to cope and then obviously substance, then you're just numbing. So then you really don't know how to feel. Then all of a sudden, one day you decide I'm going to stop. And then everything that's been, compressed starts coming out. It's like porous, right? It starts just seeping. And then you have no idea what to do with it because your go-to before was to drink, right? And to suppress it. So that's the psychological effect. Now there's also the biological, right? So your body is changing. It's not been at a baseline for, if you were drinking for 10, 15, 20 years, it's not been normalized for that amount of time. So for you to actually get everything back together is going to take some time. So you're dealing with both components.
Yeah. It's been 4 years for me.
Yeah.
I don't even know if I'm at baseline, right? I think I'm probably close.
Well,
I feel a lot better, but
yeah,
it's still.
It takes a while.
Yeah, there's days where you're just like, ooh.
It changes.
So,
yeah.
But so I guess one of the things I've come to think of is I don't want to label things, right? Oh, I used to, I'm a recovering alcoholic, or and it was more underlying issues. How would you advise somebody on something like that?
On labels?
Yeah. Are they helpful? Is there another way to look at it?
I think it's personal. I know that some people want to be known as a recovering alcoholic or recovering addict. The recovering component word is what's important to them. Other people like maybe like yourself don't want to be labeled just as that. There's more to me than just my addiction. So I think it's a personal choice. Either way, if you're in recovery, you're in recovery, whether you're an alcoholic or, whether it was sex, gambling, food. So I think it's more of a personal. Sometimes people still don't want to you can actually use it as a escapism and they don't want to be, no, I didn't drink. So there's that piece too.
Yeah. So are there different types of mental health issues or situations compare work to home?
What do you mean?
Or is it just all blend together? Like one causes stuff at the other or vice versa? Or is it all just you have this situation and you choose to address it here, but not there?
Oh, you mean... Well, imagine this, picture this,
or is
right?
it just all one big, right? Like you just have depression, period. Or is it triggered by work, by home? Are there different types, I guess, is what I'm looking to see.
Well, picture this, right? So you're in a room or, you're just in a room where there's no furniture and it's just an empty room. Like if you move in somewhere and you're right in the middle. So whatever room you go into, it's you. Right? So if you're in the living room, you're there, right? If you go into the bedroom, you're there. If you're in the bathroom, you're there. So wherever you go, you're still carrying that stuff with you. So if you have an underlying, right? If you have depression or anxiety, in general, it's going to go with you. Now, can a job actually start anxiety? Meaning like it's not like, oh, my job is gave me a diagnosis of this, right? But yes, a job can cause either depression or symptoms of anxiety. Like let's just say you're overwhelmed, you're overworked, you're working, 12-hour days, 15-hour days, and it's repetitive. It's been a year and it's nothing. Yeah, that's going to impact you.
Okay. Well, we're going into the holidays and it's said, and I want to know if it's true, is it more pronounced during the holidays? Are there,
Yes.
What happens during the holidays, do you think, to have that happen then? What triggers holidays, Christmas, Thanksgiving, New Year's, for people to
Right.
feel even worse?
I think it's the meaning of those holidays, or if you are alone, especially if you are isolated or, you don't have somebody to, share those experiences with, and then everybody else's, so that it's a really more pronounced, sadness, and then people will retreat. Or if it becomes too much, right? If people are overstimulated, then they can find these situations really difficult. So then they revert in. Anytime you start reverting in more, right? You're taking away, right? And it's like going into a dark room, and you're just like going back in and in and in and in. And then we're alone in those thoughts. We just exasperate them. Mm. So a lot of people have, whatever, their meaning behind a holiday as well. So it could mean something to you, and it means something completely different to me. And then if we don't talk about it, right, and then we're just in our own thoughts, then we make that more than what it is.
What can people do to help themselves with that besides just, are there any other things they can do when they're sitting home just to help themselves? Or is it just calling someone, or what can help?
Definitely calling, asking somebody, do you have, because you never know if you're going through something. Hey, do you have a couple minutes to talk? I'm going through it, having somebody come over. Reaching out to a therapist, reaching out to if you are employed, right, to your employee assistance program, but definitely reaching out.
Okay. Are there like hotlines out there? Are there things like that too that people can call? Because you've heard of the suicide prevention hotline, and suicide is increased during the holidays.
There's more of that, because especially if you're doing the therapeutic component, there's more of a liability. So it's not like you can just call, unless you go into the coaching, right, and you can call.
Okay. All right. Switching gears, what do you enjoy about your profession and your job the most besides me?
Besides, you are the only thing I enjoy. I know. It really is an honor to sit, across from every, client, because you are entrusted with probably one of the hardest moments in their lives, or moments of, whether it be, from childhood, from employment, from war, from, if you're in law enforcement, there's so many stories and so many things that we ourselves judge within ourselves. So to be able to sit there and, sit without judgment, and you allow me that, that honor to hear your story, I think that's one of the most beautiful moments. But seeing you guys, I say you guys because my clients, but seeing you go from point A to point Z is amazing. I start seeing it gradually. I start seeing the step 1, step 5, step 20. And it's amazing to see. That never gets old.
Yeah. And I wonder is there a point Z, or is it just a continuing
It's a continuing
process, right? There's really not an end.
No, there's not.
There's just a journey of growth. This is what I'm on. Yeah, growth. I love that word. That's one of my core values. Growth.
Is it? Yeah. No,
absolutely.
Because therapy is fluid, right? You come in, oh my gosh, I have this huge issue. And then you start stabilizing, and then something else happens, right? And then you come back. So definitely it's a progression.
Yes. That's happened to me.
Yeah.
I got to. One of the things I have enjoyed working with you is, you said, nonjudgmental, the safe space, and it's been my experience. You don't tell people how to fix things. You don't, like, I've worked with other people in the past before, and they just, you need da 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 da, and you work with the people. You it's like a collaboration, a journey together at that point.
It is
to help spotlight and uncover things. And I appreciate that a great deal. So thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
So I've really enjoyed all the help you've helped me uncover and the progress I've made. So
absolutely. Yeah. No, and that's the difference. Like you asked earlier, what's the difference between coaching and therapy? Coaching is more directive. Like, no, Scott, go do this, go do this, go do this. And some people do want that and nothing else.
I don't like to be told what to do.
Well, it doesn't always solve the problem, because then if I'm telling you what to do, then you're not going to have your own agency of knowing what to do. Right. And so it's nobody likes to be told what to do. You just said it, so it is, try to figure out like, okay, so what is this thing that you keep doing? and having you come to that answer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think that gives you the most growth, like you said.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just, how can people get a hold of you if they want to start their journey or delve into some feelings they're having that they don't understand?
Absolutely. They can, look me up on my website, which is therapies.org. Most people who look for therapists, or counselors or psychologists, they go on Psychology Today, and they just type in my name, Alene McDowell, and they can look me up. Yeah.
All
They
right.
can, email you, definitely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you have anything else to add? That's kind of what I had. I just wanted to learn more about it and what people can do to get out there, and that it really should be normalized to sit down and talk about your feelings and things. So
I think it's not what people think it is. I think that everybody has an opinion of what therapy is, and especially if you had a very bad, like if you've seen a therapist prior and they didn't work out, then you definitely are going to be swayed not to go back. But everybody is different. Every therapist is different. You really have to mesh.
it's like a pair of shoes, right? Really? Yeah. I mean, what fits best for you? What feels the best on your feet?
Absolutely. Some people may not like my style, and that's absolutely fine. You have to go with somebody that you truly do trust and enjoy. Enjoy, I think, is the word, right?
Mm-hmm.
Being able to go in and talk. If not, it's not going to work. You're just going to close up and not trust your therapist. So definitely doing that. Just call. And if it's not for you at the moment, then, if it's not with you with the therapist, try somebody else.
Well, there's nothing wrong with going and seeing somebody once and
No.
yeah, hey, that just didn't
You
fit my style, or
No.
yeah, we didn't fit, and then try something else.
You don't lose anything.
Yeah, not at all.
Yeah.
Since this is called Plumbing Around, do you have any plumbing questions or anything like that, or no?
No.
All right, good, because I'm not a plumber. So, all right. Well, that's all I have for today. Thank you so much for being on.
Yes.
And like I say at the end of every show now, water
Thank
ever
you.
wins.
Yes.
Always wins.
Always wins.
Thank you.
Thank you, Scott.